Okay, well, I wasn't watching my timer, so I don't know exactly how much of that you got, but we were going over the different camera views. Okay, got all kinds of options in camera views. Play with it any way you want. If you put it in reverse, you get backup camera. If you put the right turn signal on, you get right turn camera. If you put the left turn signal on, you get left turn camera. Up here on the stereo, we hit the remote or the menu button. We get radio, media center, Cirrus, Bluetooth, HDMI. Okay? Setup. Rand McNally is our navigation. Okay? Back to menu. Vega Touch. If I hit Vega Touch, look at that. Gives me controls for my lights, my temperature, and my generator start and stop. Also gives me lock the cargo and lock the entry door. Radio, obviously, is radio. Has a really good sound system.
I am Tommy.
Heat, your dash heat and air conditioning. The top knob is your position. The middle knob is your temperature. The bottom knob is your fan. And then you have a button with circle on it with arrows, that's recirculate, and a button with a snowflake, that's air conditioning. Down here you have an HDMI and a USB port. Those go to the radio. So that when you're on there, you got an HDMI, and you've also got USB for your iPod or your media center, depending on which one you're using. House mode gives you some different options. Number one, it shuts the radio amplifier off. And number two, it gives you some other options in what the system does. And quite frankly, they keep changing it so fast, I don't even keep up with it. Alright, where were we at? We were going to do some of this. Let's do this. I'm going to put the ignition back on. And we're going to go over this button in the middle, which is a rotary controller. Down here in the lower left-hand corner of the dash, it says odometer and trip meter. If I rotate the knob, it changes. There's settings. If I push the knob down, screen position. If I hit screen position, now by rotating the knob, I can raise or lower my dash display. I can go into Diagnostics. Diagnostics allows me to check my OBD, my 1939, my RBC, my IOs, and all my system info, or I can go back to back, and then I can go to configuration, which we don't use, nav zoom, TPMS, press the button. There's every single tire and its temperature. If you have a trailer, you can connect the trailer and set it up and configure it. That trailer could include your car if you're towing a car behind you. Trip 1. If I press and hold, it clears it. Tire pressure. Press. And hit pressure. Press again. Temperature. Easy steer. Press. And if I rotate this all the way to max, that is maximum effort. So the easiest steer is minimum, the harder steer is max, and quite frankly, it's like you can't hardly tell it's running anyways. Suspension leveling, press the button. Travel, auto level, more. In more, you can actually go to System, go to Diagnostics, and check to see, and then you can reset your zero and your travel zero and all of that. Some of that you're not going to want to mess with. Accelerator position, messages telling you that we're low on air pressure. Adaptive cruise, press the button. Disabled, if you don't like it, long distance, medium, short. That's the amount of distance you have between you and the vehicle in front of you. Brightness, if I press the button, I can adjust or my dash dimmer. Back to settings. That's all of that. Alright, now when there's a pages button. When the parking brake is released, this is probably going to go crazy because the suspension is down, but I'm going to do this real quick. The parking brake is released. I can change my display. I can put my nav up there. I can put my cameras up there. Back to normal. Also over here, this button takes me to easy steer immediately. ATC, automatic traction control. Horn switch. Well, don't have enough air for the horn. Mirror heat. Turns on my heated mirrors. Down here you see no CMS and not at ride height. No, CMS is collision mitigation system. Uses the sensors front, rear, and the sides to keep you from hitting stuff. Is it perfect? No. However, when your cruise is on, that adaptive cruise sets your following distance. And if you can set the cruise control at 80 miles an hour and pull in behind somebody doing 55, and you'll be doing 55 and following them. Pull out away from them and clear, and you'll be back to 80. But while they're doing 55 in front of you, you'll be doing 55. This is your cruise. If I turn the cruise on and hit resume, brings my idle up to 1,000 RPM. Hang on a second. Okay, so that, if I turn the cruise on and hit resume, it brings my RPMs up. Alright? If I hold resume, I can set it at any RPM I want. Hit the brakes, we go back to normal. Alright, not at ride height. While we're doing this, we're going to go back here. Oh. You have trip 2. Press it to switch, hold it to reset. We have high ride. In high ride, this gives you the ability to go over a curb. Maybe you're pulling out of a gas station where it's a steep ramp and you don't want to drag your mud flap. Go to high ride. Now once you exceed 10 miles an hour, it's going to go back to normal. You have travel mode. Press travel. It's going to reset your ride height back to normal. And it does not instantly do it. It takes it a minute. You have low ride. Low ride drops the coach down about 3 inches to give you better roof clearance. More. Again, here's our more serious lift. We got travel, we got auto level, we got manual, we got standby system. If I hit auto level, it is going to level the coach. Now when you auto level with air and you're all done, all you do is shut the engine off. It has its own onboard air compressor. It will maintain your height and your leveling. That's most everything in the dash. I mean, there's a lot going on there, but that gives you a rough overview. Also, the ignition, you step on the brake pedal to push the button. Over here on this side, see that green connector? There is a switch next to that connector. In the event that you have no brake air, you have to press that switch to mimic the brake pedal. Now watch, when I step on the brake pedal, that light turns green around the ignition start button. If it's blinking green, it means your batteries are probably low on your remote. Or that the remote's too far away and it can't read it. What I'm doing while we're talking here is I'm moving my remotes because I have both remotes up here. So now both remotes are back in the couch. And I step on the pedal, blinking green. Why? Because I can't read the remote. Okay? If the remote is sitting right here next to the radio and that light is blinking green, it's because your remote batteries are dead or too low for them to read. These buggers use batteries. CR2032. Stock them. One Phillips screw, takes the back off, and you can access it to put a battery in it. It's easy. But with the remote, good, we get a solid green light. Okay? That has been a big issue. Customers do not realize how fast these batteries go. That remote transmits 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's always transmitting a signal, therefore it uses up batteries. It's just part of the game plan. So plan on replacing batteries. Once you've had the coach for a while, you may set up a setting and say, hey, I'm changing the batteries every 4 months, whatever works for you. I don't know what the exact time schedule is. All I know is I change a lot of them. I'm going to take a quick break, get a drink, and then we'll come back.